Hi, my name is Lindsay, and today I will be explaining about the southern resident killer whale, which is an endangered species and it is worth preserving. So killer whales are also referred to as orcas. They are aquatic mammals and they are the largest member of the dolphin family. They can weigh up to 11 tons and become up to 32 feet long. They received the name killer whale from ancient sailors who watched them prey on whales even larger than themselves. The scientific name for the killer whale is Orcinus orca. Killer whales are very intelligent, and with their pod, they can coordinate hunting strategies together. They can be found in just about every ocean, but nonetheless, this species is still endangered. Killer whales have a huge ecological impact on their prey because they are the top predators of the ocean. Behaviorally, orcas are very social and playful creatures, and they tend to stick with the pod that they're born with. Pod sizes can range from 3 to 20 killer whales, but could be larger depending if it's mating season or if there is more prey during that season. Killer whales have good daytime vision, but bad nighttime vision, so they use sonar and echolocation to communicate and navigate and perceive their environment. Each pod of orcas communicates with different and unique underwater sounds such as whistles, clicks, and calls. They mostly use clicks for echolocation. These calls help them feed, navigate, and identify members of their pod. These specific calls are unique to each pod and will be passed down from generation to generation. Orcas are the apex predators of the ocean. On average, they eat about 45 kilograms of food a day. They are carnivores, so they eat animals, as they are the apex predators. When hunting larger animals, such as sharks or other whales, orcas tend to hunt together with their pod, and they use socially coordinated tactics and communication. They share their prey with their pod, and they rarely abandon each other unless it's for a couple of hours. Killer whales will often eat the liver of their prey and then leave the rest of the animal behind. Diet preferences also vary between pods dependent on what prey is available. Ultimately, killer whales have a great ecological impact, especially on the population of their prey, because they are the top at the marine food chain. Orcas are also host to parasites such as trematodes and nematodes. All right, so in captivity. The apex predator of the ocean is only considered a danger to humans when confined to captivity and used for entertainment. There have been over 100 instances between humans and killer whales in captivity, resulting in a total of 4 deaths. However, orcas in the wild have never posed a threat to humanity, as they have never attacked and there have been no deaths recorded. Captivity also has drastic physical and mental effects on killer whales. For example, in 1961, the first orca was captured and brought into confinement. 2 days later, the animal committed suicide by striking her body against the walls with such great speed because she was so bored and frustrated with her unusual environment, and she was without her pod for a long time. Self-harm is a very uncommon behavior for killer whales in the wild, but it is induced by captivity. Ultimately, when forced into captivity, orcas exhibit unnatural behaviors, including extreme tooth damage from chewing on cages, aggression towards orcas and humans, and self-harm and suicide. Globally, 50,000 killer whales have been estimated. Specifically, the southern resident orca are an endangered species in the eastern North Pacific Ocean because it is estimated that only about 75 killer whales occupy that part of the ocean since 2020, as you can see in the graph. The 3 main reasons include declining lack of food, noise pollution, and chemical pollution. Vessels produce noise pollution, which prevent these killer whales from using echolocation to capture their prey. Chemical pollution caused by humans, such as polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, bioaccumulate in the tissues of the orcas, causing their endocrine and immune systems to become disrupted when they starve. Ultimately, this leads to the primary cause, which is lack of food. 80% of the southern residents orca diet consists of Chinook salmon. However, there has been a decline of Chinook salmon, which has been caused by the series of dams choking the Columbia Snake River watershed and killing millions of Chinook salmon that are trying to migrate to the ocean. Thus, a lack of Chinook salmon for the South resident killer whale to feed on has contributed to the decline of orcas. There are no laws that forbid the captivity of killer whales, but rather the Animal Welfare Act and the Marine Mammal Protection Act lay out the specific standards that must be met to keep an orca in captivity and the permission to capture that animal and take it out of the wild. For the endangered southern resident killer whale, NOAA fisheries are working hard to recover salmon, reduce noise disturbances, and limit pollution. Specifically for salmon recovery, NOAA fisheries have worked for the past 2 years to increase the production of juvenile Chinook salmon with federal, state, and tribal hatcheries in Washington state and Oregon. Their goal is to increase the Chinook salmon population by 4 to 5% for the southern resident killer whales. They have collected over 200 million funds to restore salmon on the West Coast these past couple years. As God delegated dominion to all creatures for humans, the efforts to preserve the southern resident killer whale directly aligns with humanity's duty to take care of God's creation. Additionally, God did not call humans to capture his creation and confine it to captivity for our own entertainment. By treating orcas with respect and leaving them in the environment that they were created to be in, humans are fulfilling their purpose given to them by God. Proverbs 27:23 states, "Be sure you know how your sheep are doing and pay attention to the conditions of your cattle." It is necessary for humanity to look after the animals the Lord has created. Preservation of the southern resident killer whale species is a job for humans to execute for the Lord. Overall, the South resident orca species is worth working to preserve and keeping out of captivity. Killer whales are uniquely created by God as the apex predator of the ocean, and they have a huge impact on the rest of the ecosystem. God commanded humans to take care of the killer whales, and by increasing the population of their prey, that is fulfilling the given purpose. Here's my references slide. Thank you so much.